I'm Beth Hillman, the president of Mills College, and it's a great privilege to welcome students, faculty, staff, graduates, trustees, and guests to the college's 2020 convocation ceremony. I'd like to begin with an acknowledgement of the land on which Mills rests. We acknowledge the land and labor of the Ohlone people, whose connection to this land we remember, and whose presence, past, present, and future, we respect. As part of Mills' mission of supporting and fostering learning through the generation and dissemination of knowledge, we acknowledge that the land we are meeting on today is the original homeland of Ohlone people. I'd now like to introduce Iwa and Napua Gregg for an opening blessing. Iwa is a junior pursuing her BA in sociology with a double minor in public policy and business administration. Iwa and her mother live in Maui, Hawaii, where they filmed this morning's opening blessing or chant and oli. Iwa's favorite things about Mills are the wonderful campus and the even more wonderful people that she has met there.
O nauna kalame kaleu e alele wano yanagano o kauno ya no ine eli ane o io kahikimai hiki mai no oko hiki puno me ke aloha 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 from Maui, Hawaii. We open today's auspicious day with Kevelina Maine, an ancient hula kahiko for the god Kane. Kane is our god of sunlight, fresh water, procreation, and the god for the common man. And so we Velina, Velina means welcome. And so we do for you Kevelina Maine. Akoko.
I, Kevelina Maine ke kini o lalo. Kevelina.
Kevelina Maine ke kini o lalo na hoa o kauka na hele o puna. Akahi kanoho kauai kaukahi noho akane. Apapa ilohia alau kalohelani. Api ilanila ai ala ai ala ai. Mao na okane kaava wakau keke hai kaoluna wahi olani kamoena ki paia e ke kapa kano e o kaho o pa akai akini laula ai ala
I, Kevelina Maine ke kini o lalo.
Evelina Maine ke kini o lalo na hoa o kauka na hele o puna. Akahi kanoho kauai kaukahi noho Hawaii. Apapa ilohia halau kalohelani. Api ilanila e ala mao na okane kaava wakau keke hai kaoluna wahi olani kamoena ki paia e ke kapa kano e o kaho o pa akai akini laula ai ala
Eino no kane.
Napua for that blessing. Many of you, of course, aren't actually here with me on the Mills campus, on the Ohlone land on which Mills stands. You're scattered by the limits on proximity imposed by COVID-19. Yet from near and far, Mills 2020 convocation ceremony remains a calling in, a time to come together and mark the start of a new academic year, a time to listen to our community's voices and celebrate those receiving honors. I want to express deep gratitude for not only the provost team that conceived of this new look convocation, but the many people who have made it possible for us to gather together today. You can't often see those holding up our virtual worlds, but I can assure you they are many and they are strong. Thanks to our hosts, Sin, Magda, and Brian from the Provost's office, supported by Chelsea from our advancement team and Carrie from the President's office, and our tech hosts, Anne, Amina, and Aaron. So many other staff at Mills have also helped make this day possible, keeping us safe and connected and learning through this year of challenge and change. I'm grateful too to the Mills faculty. Their commitment to the pursuit of knowledge has been tested by the distance that separates us and the shock of so many crises that are both disrupting and motivating learning and opportunity on our campus and beyond. I'm humbled too by the abiding faith and extraordinary accomplishments of the many graduates of Mills who also join us today. I hope your ties to your classmates and to other generations of Mills alums are revived and forged anew during the virtual reunion festivities slated for this year. I'm grateful too for the service of the Board of Trustees of Mills College. Their devotion to Mills is evident in their generosity and their stewardship. I'm honored to share this virtual stage with so many dedicated people and to share this convocation with the students who continue to redefine Mills. You, your individual and collective potential, are what bring us here today. The theme for this momentous year is coronavirus, climate change, and Black futurism. As our Provost and Dean of Faculty, Dr. Chinyere Opara, explained in announcing this year's convocation, an extraordinary academic year calls for a very different kickoff. And in that spirit, the Provost team invites current students, faculty, and staff to participate in a crowdsourced, collectively co-created convocation. This crowdsourced convocation interweaves student responses to the Provost's call into the more standard convocation fare of academic regalia, speeches, and honors. We'll hear from leaders across the Mills community, as well as students whose creativity and insight is reflected in their video submissions. I'll note that those students found space and meaning in submitting their work for our benefit at this convocation, despite facing the steep and overlapping challenges of the health, economic, and equity crises upon us. The global pandemic, environmental crisis, and rising Black Lives Matter movement reveal the imperative for change and the consequences of inequity in our world. The future is in our hands, and it's a gift to be at a college like Mills at a time when learning and unlearning is so essential to remaking that future. Now I'd like to invite the chair of the Mills College Board of Trustees, Katie Sanborn, class of 1983, to welcome our classes.
Thank you, President Hillman. And thank you, all of you, for participating in this, for showing your adaptability and the coming together, the bringing in that the President just addressed. As you know, one of the great traditions at Mills is the wearing of colors, of class colors, to campus events to show our class spirit. So today is the first of many opportunities to do this. Each year, it's my honor to welcome the classes at convocation. And although this one is so different than all the ones that I've been at since I was a student, let's just seize this opportunity to be seen and to celebrate. So I'll call each class, beginning with the seniors, and ask for a visual response. We can use the Zoom reactions at the bottom of your screen to clap, to give a thumbs up, to do more. I want to invite you to fill the chat with your names and where you're zooming in from, or just wave your hands. I don't know, jump up and down, stand on your head, but something that shows the spirit that you have for yourselves, your classmates, and for Mills. So are you ready? Okay. Seniors, our red class, our class of 2021. Let's start with you. Can I see the class of 2021? Okay. As you embark on your senior year, I hope you will continue to grow as leaders and will find the courage to learn, to teach others, and to make a difference. Okay, to the green class, our juniors, the class of 2022, let's see you. All right, you're the next, engaged in your penultimate year at Mills. And now the blue class, which was also my class, our juniors, the class of, our sophomores, the class of 2023. Let's see the blue class. You're no longer the newest and you're back. Congratulations. And a special welcome to the purple class, the class of 2024. That's hard to fathom. Our first year students. Let's see the class of 2024. Okay, you are officially Mills students from wherever you are today. Mills will hold a special place in your heart now and throughout your lifetime. You're about to embark on one of the most important journeys of your life. You'll acquire a fine liberal arts education and you will make lifelong friendships. And finally, I'd like to welcome our graduate students. Let's see you and honor the many paths that you have brought to Mills. We are so lucky to count all of you as our family here at Mills. Now I'd like to introduce to you Viji Nakakama, class of 83, the president of the Alumni Association of Mills College. Viji?
All right, good morning, everyone. President Hillman, trustees, faculty, staff, and students of Mills College, greetings. A very warm welcome from the Alumni Association of Mills College, a community of over 20,000 alums from all over the US and the world. Many alums are here today to celebrate with you, class of 2021, and to cheer you on towards your graduation in the spring. 4 things come to mind as I think about the class of 2021 and your journey at Mills: love, mercy, justice, and humility. These virtues are found in the Old Testament book of the prophet Micah. Within each of us is a treasure trove of love, mercy, justice, and humility. And they will help us in times of need when we face overwhelming challenges and we are called to rise above our own needs. I read about a doctor who was called to perform surgery for a boy. When he entered the hospital, the boy's father yelled at him, "Why did you take all this time to come? Don't you know that my son's life is in danger? Don't you take your responsibilities seriously?" The doctor smiled and apologized and let him know that he was not on duty at the hospital and had to come in. The doctor asked the father to calm down and so that he could do his work. The father was irate and said, "Would you be calm if it were your son? If your son dies now, what will you do?" The doctor asked the father to pray and went on to perform the surgery. "Giving advice when we're not concerned is so easy," murmured the father. The surgery took some hours, after which the doctor happily greeted the father, "Thank God your son is saved." Without waiting for the father's reply, the doctor went on his way and said, "If you have any questions, please ask the nurse." "Why is he so arrogant? He couldn't wait a few minutes so that I could ask about my son," said the father when he saw the nurse a few minutes later. The nurse answered, "His son died yesterday in a vehicle accident. He was making funeral arrangements when we called him to do your son's surgery." Where did the doctor find the strength to attend to the needs of another when his grief was so intense? How was he able to remain merciful and humble in the face of accusations and complaints? He was committed to his calling and a cause that helped him transcend his deepest loss. Saving the life of another while he was preparing to bury his own son took fortitude and compassion. To lose one's own son to a senseless accident must have felt so unjust and cruel. Yet as he walked away after serving this man's son and saving him, he felt empowered and comforted. You too will face situations and moments where things will be inequitable and unfair, and yet you must remain calm and true to your calling and passion. How do you go about making our world more just and equitable? Brian Stevenson, a social justice activist, founder, executive director of the Equal Justice Initiative, and author of Just Mercy, gives us 4 essential keys to become world changers. First, he said you have to commit to the causes that you really care about. You cannot change the world from a distance. You must get into proximity and get involved in finding solutions to the conditions. Second, he said, change comes only as the narratives are changed around us. Many people will encourage you to believe false narratives about others, which promote fear and anger. But if you tolerate these, then you become complicit to the ills in our society, he said. You must be courageous. Talk about the things that no one else wants to talk about. Liberation will come, but only as you change the narratives. Third, you must remain hopeful. He says it'll give you courage and keep you motivated. Lastly, be willing to do uncomfortable things. Change only happens when good people decide to do uncomfortable things. Stevenson said, you will receive some bruises and wounds along the paths to change. Wear the scars as medals of honor. Stevenson's calling and passion is helping the poor, the incarcerated, and the condemned. He and his staff have won reversals, relief, or release from prison for over 135 wrongly condemned prisoners on death row, and won relief for hundreds of others wrongfully convicted or unfairly sentenced. How will you live out your calling and your passion? Your time at Mills has prepared you to be problem solvers and solution finders. There are many alums who've gone ahead of you in the journey towards justice and love, mercy, and humility. We're honored to welcome you into our community of alums and delighted to cheer you on your journey. Congratulations, class of 2021. Thank you.
Thank you, President Nakakamov. I'd now like to introduce the first of our 3 student submissions. The first is Riley Hurst. Riley is a poet, philosopher, and activist living in Rochester. She, Zem Amphibian, started writing at age 10. Widely published, Riley writes articles, edits anthologies, and is the food columnist for The Empty Closet, the 2nd oldest running LGBTQ newspaper in the country. She also reads publicly, including at Axum Gallery, Knox Writers and Books, Rochester Spoken Word, Just Poets, and Newgrounds Poetry. In her spare time, she writes poetry and, as she puts it, gets out like a lot. Riley is currently studying in the MPP program at Mills, class of 2021. She loves her colleagues and faculty and says it's clear, quote, they not only have large hearts, but are truly dedicated to a more just and equitable world.
So I wrote this poem on the last day of National Poetry Month, so after the sheltering had begun, but before the protests. This is not a poem. This is not a poem, and I'm not a poet, but that's a story for another time. This is not a poem. The lines etched out against the long, dark evening and contrasting with the even longer day. This is not a poem. Moving against the injustice of a whitewashed euphoria trampling on the majority of the world. This is not a poem, a piece mouthing its words about birds, specific birds like wren or warbler or cardinal against a misty, dewy morning. This is not a poem, declaring its love, the agony of your flesh, contorting my will, my desire, deliciously reveling in flesh and fecundity, or everlasting heavens, illuminating our moment in a tower, in a bedroom, by a stream. This is not a poem, holding us, holding our hands into the long, dark night of doom, the scythe reaping souls faster than we can plant them. This is not a poem, stopping the march of 1 million patients, sewing the masks we wear against each other, yearning for touch. This is not a poem. In this long, long nightmare, putting pennies away where dollars were spent. This is not a poem. As we hold each other tightly across an expanse of thousands of miles via synapses and pixels, or 6 feet, whatever's longer. This is not a poem, and that is not a sigh heard collectively around the world, or a tear dripping from a statue whose large belly and countenance seem at odds. This is not a poem. There's no promise, or stop, or silence, or even distraction here. This is not a poem. It's just our lives.
Thank you, Riley. Next, we have our first live student speaker, and that's Dylan Turner Keenan, president of the Associated Students of Mills College. Dylan is a senior pursuing a politics, economics, policy, and law bachelor's of arts with an emphasis in politics and a minor in urban education. She hopes to be back at Mills this coming spring for the 4+1 Accelerated Masters in Public Policy program with an emphasis in education. She is originally from Santa Cruz and chose Mills because of how welcoming the student body is, especially to the queer community. She's grateful for Mills committed faculty and their hard work in providing support to students. Please welcome President of the ASMC, Turner Keener.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dylan Turner Keener, and I'm the new president of ASMC. In addition to this title, I'm also a senior and graduating early this semester. I'm looking forward to completing my BA, and I'm excited to start the Accelerated MPP program this upcoming spring. I would like to thank President Hillman, Provost and Dean of Faculty, Chinere Opara, Board of Trustees Chair Katie Sanborn, and Alumni Association President Biji Nakakamov for alluding to how far Mills College still has yet to go in standing with, quote, the power community through social activism. This class of 2021 came in under the issue of, quote, breaking barriers. However, Mills College is, until proven otherwise, still a part of systematic racism. Mills College, as a PWI, which stands for primarily white institution within higher education, has anti-racist work for faculty, staff, and more to go through. Even though there are entities in place such as the Center, who have been undergoing anti-racist work trainings or events, there are still those who have yet to be reached. Ending racism is a continuous journey and is not complete by one change of thought process. However, I will proudly thank Mills for providing some of the most conscious, patient, intelligent, and driven students. In addition, I would like to take a moment to highlight the persistent efforts of all Black students and professors at this time. Since stepping onto Mills, we have had the continuous reminder of being a minority working at PWI. Although we continue to face racial microaggressions and constant push for respect and recognition of our efforts, we are here. We are still here today, even though some of our brothers, sisters, mothers, and community members may not be. Such as those who are named Breonna Taylor, Mercy Mack, Tony McDade, Natasha McKenna, Michael Brown, and so many others. Thank you for getting up today. Thank you for getting the work done. Thank you for taking time out of your Friday to be here. Thank you for being patient with yourself, given social injustice and a pandemic. Finally, thank you for showing up as you are. I will now welcome the classes of 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, as well as say hello to the graduate students. Lastly, I will also say greetings and thank you to the different alums for joining us on this Friday from around the world and for providing Mills with donations. I chose to attend Mills because of their pride in social activism and advocacy. Even though I have since lifted the veil of this facade, the student body has not only kept me here, but fills me with excitement to stand here before you. The student body of Mills College has picked up the torch to help lead the fight for a call to action, from Black bodies still being murdered in the streets by the hands of police, hot wildfires moving along the West Coast, battling a global pandemic, to fighting certainty in uncertain times coming up this November. We are working living, and overall surviving in this new normal of being. Yet the idea of normalcy seems foreign. It's not normal to have to attend or teach class at the level of performance pre-COVID. Although there are challenges to another way of living, with challenges comes room for solution. The act of holding on and maintaining a support system, whether that is your community or friend, having those people you can rely on is vital in keeping connection to not just yourself, but to others. Even though racism is a battle that will not be won in a day, the reinforcement of support and allyship to take up arms in advocacy and solidarity. Allies need to make themselves known. This work is not the responsibility of the oppressed to teach the oppressor about their ignorance and microaggressions. I'm not asking anymore. I'm demanding from Mills and all its white counterparts to see us Black students, to see the life issues we face on a daily basis as you look at that assignment we turned in on time. Look at the creative art pieces we produce as you look at that presentation we made for class. Listen to us state and relay our uncomfortable experiences of a white professor using the N-word in English class, just as how you listen to other departments. See the beautiful Black and brown scholars before you, because we see you. My senior class and my fellow Black peers have come a long way. And although we are in our final chapters, we have yet to finish the journey. In moments of uncertainty and exhaustion, take a moment to reflect and look back at your accomplishments. Look at where you came from, who you are now, and where you want to be. You made it this far and are proof of how far you will go once completing these final steps. So I ask you all to take that deep breath. Remind yourself of the support you have. To the allies and spaces, I ask you to stand up and speak out. And finally, my last message is to my Black peers. This is a quote from Audre Lorde, who, for those who don't know, was a Black lesbian, feminist, mother, and warrior. Quote, "Caring for myself is not self-indulgence. It is self-preservation. And that is an act of political warfare."
Thank you for those moving remarks, President Turner Keener. I'd next like to introduce our second student speaker, our graduate student speaker, also coming to you live. This is Sophie Stauffer. Sophie is currently pursuing her master's in English literature and expects to graduate in 2021. She's a former 4th grade English language arts teacher who's hoping to change education by incorporating young adult literature into more of the curriculum. She's passionate about making education more accessible and more enjoyable for young people, especially through literature. Sophie received her BA in English from Valparaiso University in 2018. She chose Mills for her graduate education because of its emphasis on inclusivity and its amazing community. Please welcome Sophie Stauffer.
Thank you, President Hillman. Hello, everyone. My name is Sophie Stauffer. I'm in the English MA program. Like many of you, I am a new student at Mills, and so to my fellow new students, welcome. To our peers who started before us, welcome back. Congratulations on this tremendous achievement. We are overcoming far more than the usual trials and tribulations of school this year. As your peer, I do not feel as if I am in the position to offer you advice. You've never met me, and maybe you never will. You are staring at a video of my face that is enlarged on your screen. You do not need my advice, but I do think that you could use a few reminders. Now, more than ever, it is easy to forget some basic truths that will help us all get by. Once, I was reading tidbits of advice from the elderly, and most of it was incredibly corny and things that we all need to learn on our own. One gentleman's advice, however, stuck out to me. He said, "Take care of your teeth." As I said, I'm in no place to advise you, but as a reminder, please take care of your teeth. You won't regret it, and it's an easy thing you can do to make yourself feel just a little bit better every single day. Further, I'd like to remind you that community is essential. Think beyond banana bread and house sitting. Think of our time at Mills, both in person and online. Think of the professors and staff who are there for you. Think of your classmates who make you feel as if you are a part of a whole. Old wisdom and maybe outdated parenting books claims it takes a village to raise a child. But we all need our own village, even if it's on Zoom or even if everyone is outside standing 6 feet apart. While you're building your village, remember Mills was not built in a day. Do not neglect the role that others play in your life and the role in which you can play in theirs. And for my last reminder, I'd like to tell you a quote from the song Two of Us on the Run by Lucius. There is no race, there's only a runner. Just keep one foot in front of the other. You are not competing with anyone. We are not competing with each other. You are not doing better or worse than your cousins or the people that you haven't spoken to in 5 years but still look up on Facebook. We do not have a timeline to follow. You are doing so much better than you think you are. Please remember to cut yourself a break. You're in grad school in the middle of a pandemic. You're creative and brilliant, and by continuing your education, you are making the world a better place. Our class has faced a unique set of challenges this year, and we will all be better for it. I'm grateful for our village, and I hope you are as well. Please don't forget to buy some floss online.
Thank you, Sophie. Next, I'd like to recognize our academic scholars. These are award-winning students, some of many in our midst. We're going to use some slides to help add majesty to this recognition. I want to thank Carrie Hall for creating these slides for us. So first, the recipient of the, okay, let's let this catch up here, our academic scholars. The recipient of the Mary Atkins Merit Scholarship for Resuming Women, Tajira Albenranga. I'd also like to recognize Marisol Emerson, the Arthur Vining Davis Science Scholarship recipient. Simone Gage is the winner of the Grace Dahmers Art History Scholarship. Lena Coletto is the recipient of the Robert A. Dahmers Scholarship Fund in Three-Dimensional Art. Bianca Mead is the recipient of the Ralph Ducasse Scholarship. The Janet L. Holmgren Presidential Scholarship recipients are Dahlia Bender, Ana Cardenas Martinez, Crystal Flores Escoto, Virginia Kingery, Arabella Metza, and Legion Zhang. Abigail Major is the recipient of the Anne Hummel Sherrill Scholarship in History. The Vera M. Long Scholarship for Women in Science. The recipients are Jada Baldoza, Mariah Brown, Jeline Jewell, Vivian Lorvan, and Denisha Zachary. Ramsha Hamid is the recipient of the Osher Resumers Scholarship. Xiaohui Ivy Lee is the recipient of the Marion Ross Merit Scholarship in Economics. And Naomi Flores is the Mills Oakland Promise Scholar. I hope you'll join me in congratulating every one of those recipients who is linked to previous recipients of that award and all of those scholarships that recognize the merit of the Mills student body. Next, I'd like to turn to another video submission. This is from Jessica Harrison. Jessica is a rising junior at the end of this semester and expects to graduate in spring 2022 with a Bachelor's of Arts in Creative Writing and an MFA in Creative Writing later in 2023. Jessica chose Mills because she was looking for an environment that would rejuvenate her love for learning, especially beyond the classroom. She wanted to be able to finally immerse herself in a culture of strong women, genderqueer, ethnically diverse young folks, scholars, activists, healers, intellectuals, and people who practice courage on a regular basis. She's seeking people who not only know how to be their most authentic selves and inspire others to do the same, she also believes that Mills has an incredible legacy of alums, and that confirms to her that her investment in a Mills education is ultimately an investment in herself.
My name is Jessica Harrison, and I'll be sharing a poem with you all for Convocation called For Those That Rape and Colonize. For those that rape and colonize, Earth and I are one and the same. To take hold of Earth is to take hold of me. I, the Black woman, the oldest adage, have watched myself, her, Earth, raped out of sanctity and auctioned as commodity. To devolve from a house of worship to a house full of things that haunt. For the sake of greed, at the mercy of those that lust and want. My body is a landscape of Earth's topography, small-scaled. In my truest essence, I exude an aura ancient and avant. The top layers of my skin shelter thousands of fissures, wherein lies the word opulence, elucidated under the gaze of astronomical dawn. My melanin is so worldly, it's the oldest decorum for an ancient ecosystem, the black bod. Wherever I lay my body, plants blossom, the sun reveals herself, and lost moons are found, because the Black woman is Earth's first reflection and first confidant. My body is often home for everybody. The wallpaper I live under is as deep as indigo. You should know there's no reconciling Earth's changing climate when you still rape away the light of the blackest abodes. As my skin fades from opal to opaque, the virus of those that rape and colonize dims the light in me that glows. Earth came and cried to me the other day. Actually, she broke down in pain. She said that she is dying quickly and that the continuum of time we're living in is borrowed. And so I cried right back, broken and in pain. I said that I missed the days where brown skin was a gift, legacy, inheritance, because now when I look at Earth, my reflection reveals to me my inherited death sentence. To be black is to have sorrow. Instead of innovate locally, you searched, pillaged, and conquered globally. Now my lungs are like the atmosphere, breathless, dense, cloudy. My kidneys are as overburdened as our over-policed inner cities. My energy is as depleted as our neglected rural communities. Honoring Earth is honoring our collective health, ancient love, communal wealth, giving grace and saying please. My melanin is so dark and full of shade, it's outer-worldly. My skin is so black and pretty, it's as extraterrestrial as our immeasurable galaxy. Homes can't have zip codes or borders, or stop where the sun can no longer be seen, or where the sun sets and rises. Relinquish your entitlement and make sovereign the bodies you've commodified. Make sovereign the bodies you've raped and colonized. Live morally, live minimally. Watch the alternatives manifest the extras in life. The things you've earned, the delicacies you still desire. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. Your words truly moved and inspired me. And good morning, everybody. Congratulations to our graduating seniors, the class of 2021, as you embark on your final year at Mills. And welcome to all of our students, especially those who are new to our community. So each year, we celebrate the accomplishments of our extraordinary faculty. Faculty, please feel free to wave when I say your name. First of all, I'm delighted to recognize our 5 faculty members who have just been granted tenure. Sarah Swope, Associate Professor of Biology, Yulia Pinkusevich, Associate Professor of Studio Art, Cliff Lee, Associate Professor of Education, Dana Wright, Associate Professor of Education, and Wendy Williams, Professor of Education. Every year, one member of the faculty is selected to receive the Eugene E. Trefethen Julia Faculty Award. This award was established to honor the late Eugene Trefethen Jr., Mr. Trefethen was a dedicated trustee who served on the Mills Board of Trustees for 36 years. The criteria for the selection of the Trefethen Faculty Award are outstanding teaching, curricular innovation, scholarship, and community or college service. It is my pleasure to present the Eugene E. Trefethen Jr. Faculty Award to Chris Sullers, Assistant Professor of Studio Art. Next, I would like to present the Mary Ann Childers Kincaid Faculty Award, commonly known as the MAC Award. As Provost and Dean of the Faculty, I have the privilege of selecting one faculty member who has demonstrated an extraordinary commitment to shared governance at Mills each year. This award is given in recognition of the faculty members' outstanding contributions to faculty governance, improving student experiences, and dedicated in collegial leadership. It gives me great pleasure to announce Christy Chung, Professor of Psychology, as the recipient of this year's MAC Award for Faculty Leadership for her tireless efforts steering our appointment, promotion, and tenure processes during the pandemic. Next, I would like to present Kirsten Saxton, Professor of English, as the recipient of the Elfenworks Foundation Sieg House Endowed Faculty Achievement Award. Nominated by students, the Elfenworks Faculty Achievement Award recognize excellence in subject matter, effectiveness in the classroom, responsiveness to a diverse student body, the ability to inspire the success of students, and success in advising. And now I would like to present the recipients of this year's Certificate of Commendation for the Advancement of Digital Learning. The Certificate of Commendation for Digital Learning has been awarded to the following individuals for their extraordinary efforts moving all of our classes to remote learning during this COVID-19 pandemic. Sheila Lloyd, Associate Professor for Teaching, Associate Provost for Teaching, Learning, and Faculty Affairs, and a Professor of English. Bruce McCreary, Director of IT Operations, and Keem C, Instructional Technology Administrator. Thank you for your tireless efforts. We couldn't have done it without you. I would also like to honor faculty members appointed to endowed chairs. Endowed professorships are special faculty positions underwritten by donors who want to recognize outstanding teachers known for their ability to combine excellent teaching with fine scholarship and dedicated college service. The Board of Trustees appoints professors to these endowed chairs, usually for 3-year terms. First, the Robert J. and Ann B. Wirt Professorship to Elmas Abinada, Professor of English. The Gibbons Young Professorship to Christina Fall, Professor of Chemistry. The Luther Bruce Marchant Professorship of Music, Nalini Guman, Professor of Music. The Letts Villard Professorship in Natural Sciences, Almudena Conrad, Associate Professor of Computer Science. The Aurelia Henry Reinhardt Professorship in American Literature, Kim McGowan, Adjunct Professor of English. The Mary S. Metz Chair for Excellence and Creativity in Teaching, Awan Mans, Professor of Ethnic Studies and English. The Jermaine Thompson Professorship, Brenda Mehta, Professor of French and Francophone Studies and Women's Gender and Sexuality Studies. And the Olga T. Scheffler Chair in the Sciences to Jared Young, Associate Professor of Biology. I'd like to offer a particular special welcome to our new tenure track faculty who have started with us this fall in this such an unusual modality. First of all, Sahar Abi Hassan, Assistant Professor of Political Science, Amy Chu, Assistant Professor of Chemistry, and Lorena Munoz, Assistant Professor of Ethnic Studies. Welcome to the Mills community. We're grateful that you're part of our community. All Mills faculty deserve our recognition and gratitude. I invite our faculty to wave as we recognize all that you have done for the Mills community. Thank you. Now, when the Provost team were envisioning what we could do for this year's convocation, we were inspired by the theme of this year's first year experience, the power of community. We wanted to showcase the creative ways that our students, faculty, staff, alums, and administrators are inspiring one another and lifting each other up. The power of community to bring us through all that we face together. Out of this inspiration grew this morning's crowdsourced, collectively co-created convocation. We wanted an extraordinary kickoff for this extraordinary year, and our student artists came through with powerful pieces speaking to the challenges of the current moment and the future that we're working for. I would like to give a heartfelt thanks to Hiwa and Napua Greek for their opening chant, Riley Hurst and Jessica Hairston for this powerful spoken word performances, and the artwork that you saw on the opening slide, and you will see again at the end, by Class of 2019 alumna Deanna Brownfield. We have one more spoken word performance, and I will turn it over to President Hillman to introduce it. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Provost Opara. Our final video submission is from Sarah Leahy. Sarah is a senior and concurrently pursuing a Child Development Bachelor's of Arts with a minor in Public Health and Health Equity and a master's degree in Child Development at Mills. She is a happiness activist, certified mediator, problem solver, cultural architect, TEDx speaker, and humanitarian. She's passionate about happy children and families, and her life's work has been in the study and enhancement of the human condition. After nearly 2 decades of working with children and their families, she founded Little Steps Good Life to become an advocate for happy children, nannies, parents, and families through mentoring and consulting. One thing she loves about Mills, the wonderful professors.
Hi, my name is Sarah Leahy, and I just wanted to share something that I wrote with you. Pause. Pause is powerful. So how do we respond to the day presented to us? For so many reasons throughout history, there have been moments that unified people and others that divided people. Division seems so deeply rooted, and unification somehow so fragile. Right now, we need undeniable unity and collaboration worldwide. Each of us are part of a collective direction of humanity, everyone. This is a deeply humbling and powerful time, a time to pause. This is not the time to check out, but instead check in and ask myself, who do I want to be? What should we do with the powerlessness we feel? I say pause. Inside each of us, there's a voice from the heart. Take a moment and listen. My heart says, I am not powerless, and this is a great opportunity for a great new strength to be born in me, a deeper commitment to choosing to love my way through each day. I have the power to think positively, be thoughtful, act with kindness and consideration, to practice forgiveness, to use my courageous voice, and to practice generosity with myself and others. This is the most powerful revolutionary act we can do from exactly where we are. Love is our greatest resource. Love is everything. And I love you no matter what.
Thank you, Sarah. Now I'd like to introduce the Reverend Dara Olant, Mills Chaplain and Director of Spiritual and Religious Life, for a closing blessing.
Greetings, everyone. I invite us to indeed pause and to soak in the power of the words and the truths that have been shared this morning. You might bring into your heart and mind that which has really impacted your heart and made an imprint this morning. As we conclude this time together, may we recall that this is not an ending, of course, but rather a beginning. Let us recall that a convocation is a calling in, a calling together. So today, let us be called into our sense of purpose. Let us recall ourselves to the highest aspirations of our hearts and our minds. All who are alive and journey together in this time are companions in a great period of upheaval, of possibility, of change. May the gift and power of your education infuse each life here with purpose and clarity, working towards a more just and equitable world in which all of our sweet communities can thrive indeed. I ask and invite each person now as we conclude to take a moment to find your own heartbeat. You might put a hand to your heart, you might check your pulse. Just take a moment and connect with the beating of your own heart. We remember that we're human beings, many hearts assembled right here in this way in the Mills community. Let us give thanks for the humans and the human hearts, and let us give thanks to the humans who have shaped your lives, rippling out in ever widening spheres of recognition and memory. Let's give thanks for all of the human hearts woven together in this web of life. Never fail to know the power of your presence and your contributions. Never fail to know the power of what you bring into the world. And let us recall that the way forward is composed of each and every action and every word. Let us remember this community of hope and of courage, and that it accompanies us. May the hope and courage of this community be the wind at your back. May your roots run deep, nourishing you with inspiration and creativity as you go forth. Now, let us go forth to do the good work of the world. Each are needed, each are deeply valued. May we go gently within and boldly without. May a spirit of purpose accompany us all as we go forth from this place and this time. May it be so. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Olant. Now I would like to send us home with the Mills College Choir, directed by Rita Lilly, singing Fires of Wisdom.
Oh, fires of wisdom burning among the sunset hills, we hail thy faithful keeper, our alma mater Mills. Sweet altar fires of knowledge, within thy light we kneel. On thy blue smoke ascending, our yearning spirits steal. On thy blue smoke ascending, our yearning spirits steal. Oh, may our high and ever our sparks
Thank you to the Mills College Choir. Thank you to everyone for a moving and inspiring event that I don't know about you, but I needed that today and this week and this year. Thanks to everybody. I thanked our administrative team at the top, but I have to say, we all need to thank them again because this went off without a hitch. And this is the first time we've ever done this kind of thing. So thank you so much to all of our hosts, our co-hosts, our supporters, our tech team, and every participant in this event. May you all find strength and solace and fortitude for what 2020 has still in store for us. Thank you for joining us for Mills College 2020 Convocation.